couldn't believe it. How can it be me? Even though I had to have known. It's still, when it's you, it's a shock.
Hi, I'm Kailana.
I'm Hanna.
I'm Kale, and this is the story of breast cancer. Breast cancer is a complex disease. It was first discovered in ancient Egypt and continues to affect people today. In fact, over 40,000 people are expected to lose their lives to this disease this year alone. What is it? How does it affect people's lives? And what steps are being taken to find a cure? This is Susan. A mutated CHEK2 gene runs in her family. Her mother, her sisters, and some of her cousins have been affected by breast cancer. 20 years ago, she was diagnosed herself.
Were you given different options for treatment when you first found out?
Not really, because breast cancer does run in my family. So I went to 2 different doctors, and they told me the cancer was found in my right breast, but they said the chance of getting it in my left breast, one doctor said 70% chance and the other 80%. So that was such a high odds that I really didn't have a choice. So my treatment was to have a double mastectomy. And I feel like I was lucky, because if they'd said 30% chance in the other breast, I might not have had it removed. But with such high odds, it sort of took the guesswork out of it. Yeah. And then treatment, I also took the drug called tamoxifen, which is a hormone treatment. So I didn't have to have radiation or chemotherapy, but I took this tamoxifen for 5 years.
What was it like when you were going through treatment?
So it was shocking. Even though there's so much breast cancer in my family, when it happens to you, you're still kind of in shock.
Were there side effects for your treatment, and also how did it work?
So the mastectomies, your breasts are removed, and then I had implants. And during that process, it was uncomfortable, and it wasn't terrible. I mean, the mastectomies were terrible. It's such a shock to your system to lose part of your body. So that was very traumatic.
Have you learned anything from your experience?
Especially initially, you have an attitude like, enjoy every moment, because you don't know what's going to happen, and be kind to your family and friends. I think as time goes on, you just start living life normally, but you try to remind yourself, like, oh wait, you got over a bad thing, and remember that.
We visited the Fred Hutch Cancer Research Center to learn more about the disease and the research being done to find a cure. This is Jamie, a breast cancer researcher at the Fred Hutch. She first became interested in breast cancer when her mother was diagnosed with the disease.
For you, what is breast cancer in your own words?
So it is obviously a disease, but it's really a disease where your own cells basically hijack the pathways, the systems in your body to survive. So yeah, it's really self-cells, your own cells that have gone haywire and doing everything they can to survive and take over.
And currently here at Fred Hutch, like, what do you do on a daily basis? That you're like.
So in this lab, we do a lot of specimen processing. We get breast tumors. So it's basically they take the tissue out of a woman who's having a surgery or a biopsy. They put it into essentially wax. And so we have all these what we call blocks in the lab. We take little what we call sections off the top of it. We put it on microscope slides. We dye them with different colors, and I take parts of the tumor, take out the RNA and DNA, and then do different tests on that.
We also interviewed Yuri, who works in the lab and interacts with patients, and Thomas, a database programmer in the Porter lab.
In the breast specimen repository, there's almost about 5,000 different patients since, I want to say 2002. And, you know, there's over 25,000 different specimens that have been created as a result of those patients donating.
A lot of the work that used to be done was, 8, 10 samples at a time. It was very easy to track. If you look at the old epidemiological studies, they were actually tracked on paper. And so we've really come quite a long ways from there, but we have quite a long ways to go.
So, do you have a current study that you guys are working on?
We have one study where we actually collected breast tumors from women in Russia. There was a nuclear accident called Chernobyl. A nuclear power plant had a meltdown, and everybody living in the region was exposed to radiation. So we are now 30 years out, and so we're looking to see if, one, if maybe there is a higher risk of breast cancer in these women who were exposed, and then two, if we look at their tumors and we look at the DNA and RNA, is there anything different about women based on how much radiation they've been exposed to in their lifetime?
How do you think the breast cancer research can further develop?
So we've already we've done a lot, especially in the field of trying to do what we call targeted therapy. So, for example, 20 to 30% of tumors have overexpression of a gene and protein called HER2, and there are a couple now targeted therapies specifically for tumors that overexpress HER2.
Translational medicine and personalized medicine is becoming exceptionally huge.
We've come a long way with that, and there's still a lot of that happening as we're identifying new things in tumors that can be targeted. The other one for breast cancer that's been used for quite a while and works quite well are therapies that inhibit the hormone pathways, because breast cancers, 75 to 80% of them are very hormonally driven. So as far as what's sort of happening now and moving towards the future, I think one of the biggest fields that's exploding right now is immunotherapy for tumors. The immunotherapy approach is basically identifying, taking the host's immune system and seeing if you can turn the host's immune system on to specifically target the tumor. For many, many years, surgery really was the best option for what we knew about. I mean, physically removing those cells from the body, because you want to try to get those cells out before they have a chance to go to the rest of the body. I always get the question of, well, do you think there's going to be a cure? I think one of the most important things to understand about cancer is it's not one disease. And I don't just mean breast cancer versus prostate cancer versus lung cancer. I mean, within breast cancer, we still don't fully appreciate how many different diseases of breast cancer there are.
If you think about like Chinese food, right? And you go taste different restaurants. Every restaurant makes the same thing a little differently, right? And you might see patterns where some restaurants make it one way and another set of restaurants makes it another way.
We've moved towards trying to understand things on the patient-by-patient level as opposed to the whole group of, say, breast cancer patients in general, and saying, well, what's happening in this woman's tumor? What's unique about her tumor? And then do we have a therapy to specifically attack her tumor?
No cancer is alike, right? They all have general patterns in how they work and how we understand them or how we categorize them, how they look under the microscope.
But having said that, we are making a lot of progress in that realm. There may or may not be a cure, but I think we can get to the point in time where we can really develop enough therapies to be able to treat most people's cancers.
I think it is going to be practically curable. Jamie and Thomas, they see really the numbers story of what we're going to see in the future. For me, I grow with these patients on a very personal level, so it's really great to see, talk with their providers in these clinical trials, and then, hearing the providers say, you came here with stage 4 cancer, and now we don't see it.
Although breast cancer has been thought to be an incurable disease, there have been many advances to show hope for the future. Hopefully one day, all the people expected to die from this disease will be able to live normal lives. Even if you think one person can't make a difference, you can help by contributing to local research centers and spreading the word. Thank you.